Hey guys, Sparks back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video, and in this video we're going to be ranking all of the limited time units from worst to best and talking a little bit about what that might mean for future limited units. Okay, so starting off our list here of limited units is going to be Hemino. Now, Hemino makes the bottom of the list in a lot of ways just because she is an SR, right? So I am including even SRs on here for limited units. No matter what ranking they are, we're adding them on here. So Hemino is actually pretty good. She has pretty strong skills that are good for snipers and rockets, but you know, just being an SR, she's inherently weaker, and there are just so many good options for Burst 2 in this game that, you know, just the likelihood of you actually using Hemino is very low. But that doesn't actually mean she's trash just because she is at the bottom of this list. Rank 2, we have Neve. Now, she actually hits really hard. She can increase hit rate and can pierce. She's good as a shotgun alternative if, you know, maybe you don't have some of the more powerful ones, you know, like Drake or someone like that. But there are just better main DPSs. You know, she's pretty much all about just, you know, dealing attack damage. And, you know, when she came out, she was actually used on a lot of Gravedigger teams, and she is totally usable, but it's just, you know, now it's impossible to get her, so, like, if newer players get her again, eventually, if they do a rerun, they're probably just gonna have way better DPS options. We've had more shotguns come out, like Noir and things like that, but Neve, when she first came out, was actually kind of top-tier damage. So, again, not a bad unit, but just kind of gets outpaced at this point. Okay. Number 3 is Winter Shopper Rupee. And this unit had a lot of hype and a lot of controversy for a lot of different reasons. And she's actually really cool. She's the only Burst 0, technically a Burst 1, but she goes off first and then can set off another Burst 1. She recently got a buff, so she has gotten better, but still just dies way too easily. You know, she's supposed to tank, she taunts, but she just doesn't have enough healing or like inherent survivability or shields or something to keep her alive. I have seen people use her to some success in Arena, but ultimately, you know, she's just not that great. Frankly, she's very disappointing, but makes a great lobby waifu. All right, number 4 is Neon, our most recent limited unit. And we all know that we've found her pretty disappointing. Also, I'm kind of salty about her because I couldn't manage to pull her. I did a whole polling session with her live on stream. Link to that video down below if you want to watch that too. You can see my pain and suffering. I did so many polls and never managed to get her, plus a bunch of other things that were bad about that polling session too. But yeah, so besides my own personal feelings about her, you know, she is disappointing, but still usable. So she has the problem, like Modernia, of dealing less damage when she bursts. But unlike Modernia, who still can just do massive damage to like mobs, just deals less damage to a single target enemy, you know, no one's really found a great way to really utilize Neon's burst. And just her multipliers aren't enough. She just doesn't deal enough damage. That said, I still think she's good for raids, and higher level accounts need as many options to make specialized raid teams. And so that's why she is ranked number 4 on here and above some of these other units. Okay, our next unit, and this is where I think we're getting to like our first like really usable units. Or, you know, they're all usable. I shouldn't say that. Neon is probably our first really usable unit. But Machuma, I'd say, is like the first unit that, you know, a lot of people might consider to be good. You know, as far as just like the common discourse about her online. Anyway, she's honestly, if we're being real here, kind of bad though, despite what I just said. But she has some specific uses that still make her pretty relevant. So she can stall out a lot of teams in Arena, which is probably the main reason that people use her, and she can still help you clear train. I use her on like kind of a generic DPS team, and she just taunts enough and survives long enough to get it through. She was also a way that a lot of people cleared train for the first time with combining her with like Diesel or someone like that with doing the iframing. And yeah, you know, I think that she deserves to be, you know, kind of in the second half of this ranking. You know, if you got her, you're probably happy that you have her. Also another unit that had a lot of controversy around her. All right, the next unit on the list is our other Chainsaw Man unit, Power. I think Power is the most underrated unit in this game. Honestly, she nukes bosses, she builds boost fast, she can snipe Scarlet in PvP. She's just an all-around really strong, usable unit. And I think a lot of people just like don't realize that or don't use her enough, and I rarely see her around. But really, a lot of times she'll make at least one of my raid teams. Like I said, in certain matchups, you can actually use her to snipe Scarlet in Arena because she'll go instantly for that highest attack enemy, and she's really good at building boost herself, so helps contribute to getting that race. And she's also extremely good against, interception bosses like Chatterbox and other things. So yeah, Power is actually very good. I compare her to a Ploss in a lot of ways, and I think depending on exactly what you're doing, one might be slightly better than the other. But yeah, Power is pretty solid. So she is our third best unit, or number 6 on this list. I'm numbering them backwards. Probably shouldn't have done that. But okay, our second best unit / number 7 on our list here is Bay Goddess Mary. Now, if you saw my review, and link to that in the description below as well, I wasn't that impressed by her. I would say my opinion of her has slightly improved since my review on her, but I still think that everything I said in that review is definitely still valid. She needs a lot of investment to really be effective, and she can do some decent healing if you have her burst and you have pretty good investment on her. She really does pretty good healing, and there just aren't that many other healing options. So even though she's probably only like the third best healer in the game, a lot of people might not have Rapunzel. Blanc can go on one of your teams, maybe Helm can go on another team. Mary is probably going to make it on your team for raids. I still think she's good for raids, whether it is on a fire enemy, specialized team and really synergizing with other water units, or you're just trying to get her in one of your, third, fourth teams for raid or something like that. Mary is definitely something that I think you're really happy to have. That said, if you are a newer account, she is a very niche specific unit, and I think she's probably not worth really like dumping in your resources to get her. But more on that in a moment as well. Okay, getting to our number 1 best limited time unit in the game, that is Christmas Ann. Ann is easily the best. She is very good in PvP. She is very good for burst generation, attack buff, and reviving. I have her on all of my arena teams. Well, I shouldn't say all of my, so I can only have her on one team, but you know what I mean. I always have her on one of my teams. She is the best burst 2 for the Snow White team. So, Snow White gets a massive attack buff from her, enabling her to one-shot bosses. Christmas Ann is good for interception. She's good for raid. She's good in arena. She's an absolute beast, and you don't even really need more than one copy of her because all of her power is just really in her skills and her skill levels. And, you can put overload gear on her to make her stronger, but really you're not that worried about her stats. And so if you just pulled the one, you really don't need a ton of duplicates. So that makes her like even more usable. And she's just incredibly good. Like, Snow White is one of the best attackers in the game. And being the best burst 2 for her, that alone makes her insane. Plus the fact that she just generates bursts so fast and can make, like Scarlet nuke people even better in arena. Yeah, and the clutch revive often comes more relevant than you might think as well. So she is our number 1 best unit, and I would say is probably the only limited unit that is really like a must pull, which, people can't get her at this point, although they will probably rerun her at some point. But, I think looking forward, I don't know. I think this is a good place for most of the limited time units to be. All of our summer units are top tier lobby waifus, and they're good investments for highly developed accounts. And I can't wait to see the rest of the girls like Rappy and Yan and maybe Anise. We keep getting teased by Anise. Looking forward to her. Developers are doing a decent job, I think, of making the limited units relevant, but not must pulls. And I think this is where we want our limited units to be. The only real exception to that, I think, is Anne. But let me know what your ranking is in the comments below. What do you think of my ranking here of the limited time units? And also, I'd love to know what your summer unit, because remember, we still got over a month of this event to go. What is your most anticipated summer unit, or what skin are you looking forward to most? I'm super hyped about more summer units and more summer skins. They all look amazing visually. Maybe eventually I'll still get Neon. I'm really looking forward to Rupee in particular, if we can actually get a real skin for her. She looks amazing in that one-piece swimming suit. Okay, I'll catch you guys on stream on either YouTube or Twitch every Monday and Thursday, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.